Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a real medical mystery. We're talking about a silent killer. It's a condition that sneaks up on you without making a single sound, often until it's way too late. But here's the most fascinating and frankly heartbreaking part of this whole thing. This disease actively targets the most selfless, hardworking people among us. We're going to unpack exactly how this happens, how to spot the hidden clues, and most importantly, how to protect yourself, all based on some incredible insights we've pulled from our source material. All right, let's just jump right into this staggering statistic. 1 in 8 adults is walking around with this condition right now, and they are often completely unaware. Think about that for a second. If you're in a crowded room, or even just sitting down with your extended family, the odds are incredibly high that someone there is quietly suffering from kidney disease. It's become a massive social issue, and the main reason is that the alarm bells just do not ring until the damage is already severe. But before we get into the nitty-gritty biology of it all, I've got to ask you a serious question. Are you constantly sacrificing your own sleep and diet to take care of your family or your job or your friends? Do you find yourself running on fumes just to make sure everyone else is okay? Because according to the clinical experience in our source, this specific personality trait isn't just an emotional burden, it is a literal physical risk factor for this disease. Section 1. The silent killer, kidney disease. So why do we call it a silent killer? Well, our source shares an amazing anecdote about a patient that perfectly hits the nail on the head. Picture a highly energetic 50-something-year-old mom. She's up at 5:30 a.m. every single day, cooks for the kids and her husband, absolutely crushes it at work on a management track, and then spends her weekends driving out to care for her aging parents. She's the ultimate caregiver, right? And she felt completely fine, zero symptoms. But a routine health checkup came back with shockingly high creatinine levels, which meant her kidneys were actively failing. She was absolutely floored. I mean, how could someone with that much energy be so sick? And here's where it gets truly fascinating. Textbooks will tell you that things like diabetes or high blood pressure cause kidney issues. But the doctor in our source points out a really profound common thread. Kidney disease strikes people who value others over themselves. Think about it. When you're pushing yourself for everyone else, what goes out the window? Sleep. You're grabbing convenience store salt bombs on the go. You're ignoring your own stress. And over time, that chronic exhaustion and self-neglect literally push the body, especially as it ages past 45 or 50, right past its breaking point. Section 2. The kidney's amazing role. To figure out how this villain operates in the shadows, we really need to look at what these organs actually do. If you gently place your hands on your lower back, right around the level of your elbows, you'll find them, your 2 kidneys. Think of them as a massive, intricate network of blood vessels, acting exactly like your city's drainage pipes. Blood is constantly flowing in, carrying all the garbage and waste your body generates. Your kidneys grab all that trash, dissolve it into water, and flush it right out of your system as urine. So what exactly are they filtering out? Well, they pull out incredibly dangerous acids, hydrogen ions that would otherwise literally burn and damage your internal organs. They also filter out potassium. Now, you know how you're always told to eat your healthy veggies? Well, finally, an excuse not to. Just kidding. But seriously, potassium is found in vegetables, and if your kidney filter is broken, that potassium builds up and actually becomes highly toxic, damaging your body from the inside out. Section 3. Why symptoms go unnoticed. Which brings us to a massive medical mystery. If these organs are doing all this heavy lifting, why on earth do we miss the signs when they're struggling? The answer is that the kidneys suffer incredibly quietly. When they finally start breaking down under the weight of the damage, the clues they drop are so subtle. We're talking about your legs feeling just a little heavy in the evening, some subtle fluid swelling, and a stubborn, lingering tiredness that just won't go away, no matter how many cups of coffee you drink. And this perfectly explains why women, in particular, miss these critical early warnings. Physiologically speaking, men generally have higher muscle mass in their legs, which acts like a pump to push fluids back up to the heart. Women naturally have less muscle mass down there. Add to that sitting at a desk all day or working on your feet, and daily leg swelling and evening fatigue are just considered normal life for so many women. It's a tragic irony, really. They're so used to feeling exhausted that they completely ignore the kidney's silent alarm bells, mistaking actual organ failure for just another tiring day at the office. Section 4. Why men are riskier. But wait, right when you think women are taking the brunt of this, the data throws us a massive plot twist. Men actually suffer from end-stage kidney disease at a staggering 2.5 times higher rate than women. So despite women missing the physical symptoms because of natural swelling, men are ultimately the ones suffering the most severe, fatal consequences. Why? Well, the reason is shockingly simple and honestly pretty tragic. It comes down to behavior. Women on average have much higher rates of actually going to routine health checkups. When a woman gets a slightly weird lab result, she tends to jump on it and ask, okay, what should I do? Men, on the other hand, notoriously avoid the doctor. They stubbornly skip checkups, ignore early chemical warnings, and allow this silent killer to operate completely unchecked until the physical damage is totally irreversible. Section 5. 2 Life-saving indicators. Okay, so how do we catch this stealthy villain in the act? First up, you have to look at your routine urine test for a protein called albumin. Protein is incredibly valuable stuff. It's supposed to stay securely locked inside your bloodstream. If your test shows albumin leaking out into your waste, that is a massive red flag. It literally means the physical filter in your kidneys is torn and compromised. Second, you're going to want to look at your blood test for creatinine and your eGFR, which stands for glomerular filtration rate. Creatinine is just a waste product. If your kidneys are failing, this waste starts piling up in your blood instead of being flushed away. Doctors use these specific numbers to calculate your eGFR. That's basically a mathematical grade of exactly how broken your kidney's filtration system is, and it grades the disease from stage 1 all the way to stage 5. Section 6. Prevention. Valuing yourself first. Knowing the science is great, but it's really only half the battle. Your actual defense strategy depends entirely on what stage you're in. If you catch it in the early days, stages 1 to 3, the game plan is radical, extreme self-care to stop the damage in its tracks. But if you hit stages 4 and 5, the situation is dire. Toxins are actively building up in your blood, and your kidneys actually stop producing essential hormones that your body desperately needs to make blood and keep your bones strong. At that point, you absolutely must seek urgent, specialized medical intervention immediately. Now, for those of you in the early stages, or if you're just looking to prevent this whole shebang altogether, you've got to protect your blood vessels. Remember, the kidney is basically a giant ball of blood vessels, so high blood pressure absolutely destroys it. You have to stop relying on heavy salt and soy sauce to cope with stress. Swap them out for flavorful alternatives like dashi broth and pepper. And crucially, you have to invest in proper, high-quality sleep. Getting a good pillow, finally getting enough rest, that is exactly how your blood vessels heal. And that brings us to our final and honestly, maybe the most important takeaway of this whole explainer. Defeating this silent killer isn't just about biology, it's about bravery. Do you have the courage to stop putting everyone else first for just a moment? Go schedule that health checkup. Stop brushing off your fatigue like it's nothing. In a world that constantly demands our hustle and our sacrifice, maybe the most rebellious thing you can do is radically value your own life today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this empowers you to take charge of your health.